Short film roundup.
But first, a quick disclaimer. On Short Film Roundup, we review short films with the utmost honesty, sometimes brutal honesty. This means we may say things about your blood, sweat, and tears labor of love short film that aren't necessarily flattering. We do this because we believe it's the best way for you, us, and the entire short film making community to learn and grow. So don't take it personally. We have all made the same mistakes on our filmmaking journey, so if it ever appears that we are laughing at you, just know that we are also laughing at ourselves. Now on with the show.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Short Film Roundup.
Short Film Roundup.
Short Film Roundup!
Hey, Taylor, you got something on your
head.
Right there, yeah.
There's a... What is that? It appears to be a large rock was on your head. You okay? Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, our abstract filmmaker, Taylor Schofield. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Thank you for having me.
From whatever astral plane you came from.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, this is the place where we review user-submitted short films every week, and we just watch these very short films live.
Yes, live.
But live, but sort of. No, it was live.
It was definitely live. Yeah, unscripted.
Every Tuesday at noon, we watch these films live. Not these ones.
Wait a minute. Live?
You live?
Like anything could happen live?
Anything.
Like something completely unpredictable?
Right, like that spin take.
like anything could happen? Like you just have no idea.
One more.
Live.
Wow! That's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you should tune in to the live broadcast.
Yeah. You can find the link to our live broadcast on our subreddit.
Because you just never know what'll happen.
On our subreddit, or sometimes our Facebook.
What do we do?
This has never happened. Yeah.
So we have a Facebook group, by the way, called Short Film Cooperative, which has only secret members in it.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to be a secret member, you can join us, but you have to do the... there's a small ritual we require.
A little bit of blood, not too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
reasonable
it is an
amount of
awesome place to be. We take what we do as Short Film Roundup and take it deeper.
We do.
And we're trying to form a community of short film makers. We're trying to elevate the art form of short film, and we're all doing it together, so come join the group.
Yep. You can actually join us by... how can they join us?
They can send us a PM.
Yeah, on Reddit.
Yeah.
Or actually, you know what? You can send messages on YouTube.
Yeah, or even anywhere, really.
You can also go to Facebook and look for Short Film Cooperative.
And request join. Yep.
Yeah.
It's that
and
easy,
we'll,
folks.
deny entry.
All right, before we dig into today's 3 short films, we have some feedback from last week's episode.
Yeah, so we actually get this feedback quite a lot from other filmmakers about their film that we watched. They're usually pretty positive.
Yeah.
And we wanted to share it with you guys because it's awesome.
Yeah.
So our first one that we're going to read today is from Shane, who did Chroma.
Yes, this is his second time being on our show, which is cool.
Yeah.
He also did a walk in the park.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And this is interesting because we all had the same conclusion about Chroma, that it was obviously a VFX test.
Yeah.
Here is Shane's feedback.
Yes, Shane says, thank you for taking the time to review one of my films once again.
You're welcome.
Totally agree that there isn't much meat to this film. It was not shot as a VFX test, but I can totally see how one might get that. I'm also looking back, I may enjoy this film purely for nostalgic purposes. He shot this film as a final for an introductory film class. He says that the class required the use of a Bolex 16mm.
Awesome.
So that's really interesting.
Yep.
He said using film has to be one of the most rewarding experiences I've had making one of my own films. As I said in another thread, I felt it made me more disciplined, and it put more emphasis on intention of later films, which is really cool because... what was the film you said that we saw? Walk in the Park from him? That one, straight intent.
Yeah, very clear intention.
Yeah. He says, as for the story, again, I agree. It was pretty basic. The fact that I was shooting on film kind of necessitated that the film be so short because I only had one roll of film. Also, the camera that I used...
challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you're I mean,
And a Bolex, I think that's like a 4-minute load.
Is that how
like,
big it was?
They're
You
really
have a
short.
Bolex, right?
I've used a Bolex, yeah.
Yeah.
They're small.
yeah. So when we have digital film cameras, we can shoot and then delete. But,
Right.
Forever.
Yeah, forever.
And
but,
it's expensive. I mean,
yeah,
I've
you're talking about regular film.
using
Yeah.
one. I've only done it once.
Yeah.
And it is terrifying watching those feet roll by, knowing that you don't get them back, and it cost a fortune, and I had to go to a special place in some corner of Hollywood to find the right film. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really puts a whole nother level on the art form. So
That's a great thing that he said about intention. I didn't even think about that.
maybe digital is making lazy filmmakers.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. I mean,
A lot of people talk about
a lot of people do talk about it. Yeah.
Right.
We should talk about that one time.
We will, but not now.
He says the camera I used was checked out of the equipment cage from school. He was attending at SFSU. We were told that we couldn't take the camera off campus, so that also limited his options. He says, I don't shoot on film often. In fact, outside of that, I haven't. Although I have crewed for things since and shot on film, but that doesn't really count. He says, I have seen the film Pleasantville. Kenny called it Smallville.
I did. Calling me out.
He says
it
it's
is Pleasant.
Superman. Yeah.
Yes.
I watched Pleasantville as a kid, was fascinated by it. I have always enjoyed the concept of a world turning into color. Do you think I answered all your questions?
I think so.
Again, thanks for taking the time to check out my film. Appreciate it. Still a friend of the program.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
We love you too. Yeah, it was really nice seeing that kind of view on your film.
And this
the
is how we
perspective.
want this to work, right?
Yeah.
This is exactly how we want this show to work. We watch the films together on the live stream, be involved as much as you can. Then we come here and we review the films on Short Film Roundup, and then get feedback later from
Yeah.
the filmmakers. And then to wrap it all up, we carry on the conversations
Right.
deep into theory of filmmaking at our Facebook group.
And that's how we learn.
Yeah.
That's how we
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
So we got one more to go. This is from Dario Ortega.
Dario Ortega, Pink Concept.
He says that he had just watched it. He said it was great. Wow. And he says,
Thanks,
thank you so
Dario.
much. And that's it. That's all he had to say. That's amazing. Thanks, Dario. He said that the film focused, so we read this a little bit later. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he said that the film was very much focused on bad rom-coms and how degrading some of the moments in romances can be interesting. And so what he tried to do was focus on a secondary character that realized that he was a secondary character and that he is literally escaped from the film. So that was really cool. And he said that also he had got the pink concept from the pink noise, which is typically heard coming or, quote, escaping from electronics. So the whole thing was based around that whole idea. And I really liked that whole thing. He also said that he used Red Giant's universes to create VHS quality footage. Red Giant,
And it was a cool effect. It looked really good.
yeah, Red Giant is great with their After Effects stuff. I've used quite a bit of them. But yeah,
Yeah,
good stuff.
That feedback helped me appreciate the film a little bit more than I did initially, because I really do like that concept of like a secondary character realizing that they're a side character and then wanting to escape from that, and that's something that I just didn't get when I
Neither
watched
of
it.
us did.
No.
All three of us came to different conclusions
Yeah.
about what this story they were trying to tell was.
Yeah.
And so this explanation, for me too, it's like, wow, that's really interesting. And I love hearing from directors after screenings at like film festivals.
Yeah.
But it always makes me think if we needed an explanation from the filmmaker, if we needed extra context to make you really get the full experience of the film, then maybe the film is missing
Yeah,
Right.
maybe something's
something.
going wrong there,
right.
which is an interesting conversation that
yeah.
we can have.
Yeah, these can be really fun to learn from, but you're absolutely right. If you have to gain more context after the film, then it may not have done what it was intended to do. It all depends on the intent, always.
Yeah. It was a fun movie to watch either way.
It was fun. Yeah, I liked the concept a lot.
Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you,
We
Dario.
encourage all our filmmakers to please answer our questions and give us feedback. Post it on the YouTube channel right under this episode.
Yes, sir. You okay there?
You right there, Taylor?
You good, Taylor?
Shoot, he's doing it again. Taylor, do you have any ammo?
I got a dart in here.
That one too. Okay.
Here we go.
Count
Sorry,
to
guys.
three?
You have to witness this.
Yeah, sorry.
so.
1,
One,
2,
two,
3.
Oh,
Are you all right?
Whoa.
You back?
Yeah. what's
Okay,
up?
good.
All right, cool.
All right,
Yeah.
so we want to move on with the show. That's all. You zoned out again.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
all right.
fine.
So,
Whatever.
our 3 films for today. What are they? What
yeah.
are we starting with?
So we're starting with Fever,
Yes.
and this is directed by Ryan Hepkema or Hepkema.
Hepkema.
Hepkema. Do you want to be a little clearer as to what someone's supposed to do?
Sure.
With this
We had a comment on YouTube last week. Right now, we're going to cut to our little theater graphic, and that is your time to click on the link in the description and watch the short film yourself. All
Yes.
right? And then come back and we review it together.
Unless you already watched it on our live stream.
Unless you already watched it on the live stream, then you don't have to. But you need to see the film to really understand the conversation we're about to have. We're
Yes.
not going to explain the whole movie. We are going to speak as if you just saw it. So go watch the movie right now, click the link below, and then we will come back here
And
right
we-
after.
We will wait for you.
We'll wait. We'll still be here.
Yeah.
We should all be gone.
We're back.
And we're back.
We are back. Mr. Taylor, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
So, can you tell me, Kenny,
Yes.
what you thought about Fever,
Sure.
which I believe has to do with gold fever
Yep.
or something like that?
This is a very ambitious project.
Why here?
Sorry.
Audio feedback.
There we go.
Turn that volume down. Okay. Very ambitious project. The scope is huge. I mean, this is a filmmaker setting their aim high.
Yeah.
Always doing a period piece is
Yeah.
hard. This is a period piece with many locations, many characters, animals, gunshots. This is all very, very challenging stuff.
Very much.
The feat itself is impressive. Many moments are beautiful. But as a whole, I was left feeling kind of like there was some big things missing here to make it a compelling story. In the end, I just felt like, what is this movie trying to tell me? Why did I just watch it? What am I supposed to get out of it? I didn't feel like there was a real emotional arc or hook, and I never had an opportunity to really understand these characters, and just not enough character development for me to say, okay, now I know why I care when these two are facing off and pointing their guns at each other. Ideally, I should feel some real pain here. This is a brother pointing a gun at his own blood.
Right.
Right? And there's just no tension or emotion.
Yeah.
So, great effort, but I think also some big missed opportunities.
Where do you think it went wrong in that regard? Like, where could it have improved on that front?
I think intent is huge here. Knowing exactly not just the story you're trying to tell, but the emotion you're trying to evoke.
Yeah.
Because that's going to inform how you're going to develop each character, which character you're going to want the audience to have empathy with.
Right.
We never got to that point.
Right.
I never knew if I should be feeling sorry for this demented guy or rooting for the heroic brother.
Right.
Right. So I think intent and character development is what missed.
Yeah, just clear.
It's interesting because they stuffed a lot of characters into this little tiny film.
And that was impressive.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We had the sheriff, the main brother, the enemy brother,
The dead brother.
and the
Reverend.
reverend.
Yeah.
And one thing that was very disconnected to all of us as soon as we stopped watching the film was this part, where we have the brother who's shot and he's like listening to a rock or something,
smelling it, listening to it. He looks like a crazy person now.
Yeah. Then so like before that, we had never really understood that this guy is anything but
seemed
sober.
malevolent. There you go. Thank you. And tough. You know,
Yeah.
like a tough guy.
Yeah. Like
But-
it sounded like it was out of vengeance in the very beginning.
Yeah.
You know.
But in the end, he's crazy.
Yeah.
If I had to infer what the entire thing was about, really was like this, the golden fever sort of idea, gold
Yeah.
fever, where like during the gold rush, people got crazy over gold and obsessed, and it seems like this guy was obsessed with his brother's success and like took that from him, killed him, and then like maybe went kind of crazy from either guilt or just
Sure.
going obsessed for the money, and that's why he was so weird at the end.
Right.
But that whole, if my inference is correct,
Yeah.
that idea was not really hit home. It was just kind of like a on the side, not really a main focus.
Well,
when
we
I think
didn't.
it should
We
have been
didn't
the
see
focus.
the arc. We didn't
Yeah,
see that.
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't see him go mad.
Yeah,
We didn't see
exactly.
evidence that it was happening.
Yeah.
It just happened, and so when it did, it felt like it came out of left field.
Yeah.
Right. And the only time that we did infer anything about his character was during this scene between him and the brother, where he
This
was
was
being
a cool scene.
Yeah.
One of
He
the
was
best scenes.
he was very cryptic the whole time. And there's this thing that we talk about with dialogue. Screenwriters say that if a character is talking, that they're either moving up the plot or they're describing the character. So if they're like Tony Stark saying something like, "I want an American cheeseburger and I want this blah blah blah," you're saying something about your character as opposed to the plot. And a lot of the things that they said here were just the plot, and we didn't really understand much about them as people. So it made it hard for us to empathize with anything.
That
Right.
also made the plot a little bit dull, also because it was so plot driven in the sense that it was like the W kills his brother, and then it's like kind of a mystery, and then his other brother finds out and then catches up with him. But
Right.
it's just kind of not that engaging to watch because you just don't really
Because
feel
there's
for the
nothing really to
characters
follow. Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
It's just a string of things happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like to say some positive real quick. This movie achieves a lot. Like
Oh, yeah.
it covers a lot of plot in a
Yes.
very short amount of time. Like there's a
Yep.
lot of scenes, a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And it all does that without feeling like the pacing is really well done.
Yeah.
Like it has really nice pacing.
Yeah. There were times. Sorry. Were you? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna keep ranting.
There were times where I genuinely felt something, right? Like for instance, when the brother finds out that his brother was the one who shot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Like we don't have usually that genuine sense of surprise from short films, so that was really cool. But yeah, some of the deeper stuff that we needed just wasn't there. Kenny, you talked about how like everything in this film is so high production value. Like it looks really great.
Yeah.
The
That
locations
also-
and the costumes.
That
and
also
everything.
causes some problems.
Right. So tell me exactly what you were talking about before
Yeah.
when we were watching the film.
Yeah. So, when you aim high, when you go for if you expect a lot of yourself, the more you expect of yourself in your film, the more the audience is also going to expect from it.
Definitely.
And what I mean by that is that someone who sees this movie, they're not going to watch it with the eyes of something that's like shot on the iPhone, right?
Right.
They're looking at with the eyes of any other Western Gold Rush era period piece they've seen, right? And by those standards, which I mean, is that totally unfair? Maybe, except that is the world we live in.
That is, yeah.
Right? People don't come to the movie to see if they have slightly above par costumes and props.
Right.
They want perfect.
Right.
Right? So that's just the world. With this film, some of the big problems that stand out to me, the costumes are super clean. Like they look brand new.
They do.
The horses are perfectly manicured.
Yeah.
Like these are well taken care of horses.
Right.
The people are squeaky clean. The location they use, the village, is clearly a historical recreation. Like this is at this is some sort of visitors center, right, at a state park or something like that. It's a historical recreation. So the problem with that is everything's well maintained every day by a crew of park rangers and such.
Right.
Scroll forward just a little bit, and right there we have what's clearly 200 to 300 year old mining equipment,
which is all rusted. Right?
Yeah, like that's obviously old.
Right.
It's not from their era. That might even be a sign on the wall for visitors. You can't tell, but it very well may be. Yeah. So stuff like that, I mean, it's so cool that you had these locations and you went the extra mile to get the horses, to get the costumes, and to get the permits to shoot in this place. That's all awesome, but it also, like, we now watch it with a higher standard of interest.
Right.
And that kind of sucks, but it's just the way it is.
Well, it's like the shot in Westworld that everyone picked apart like crazy was the one where you could see a camera in the background.
Yeah.
And it's because it completely ruins the whole facade.
Yeah.
Right. And when people are taken into a world that they're being convinced that this is a world of this nature, and they see something that's outside of that, just whoa, it's completely broken. So in that instance, or in that sense, what you're saying and things about like overgrowth, or things that are really, really old that are rusted, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
and that can be tricky to avoid. Especially with limitations,
Well, it's really hard. If you're renting costumes, you have to get back. You can't go age it.
No.
You can't
go
roll it in the mud. You can't. I mean, if I was using this chapel here, I would totally age that surface. I mean, that looks like it was put together yesterday. I would, splatter stuff all over that. Make it dirty. Make the windows dirty.
Yeah.
I mean, those windows they've had Windex on them.
And we are saying, I don't want to confuse people. We are saying that there are things that are too old and things that are too new.
At the same time.
Yeah, and it's because for the era, like this kind of very, very, very clean outset of the place here, just doesn't look in character. However, things that are really old, you can tell were too old.
The old rusted mining equipment would be state of the art.
Right,
when
exactly.
This takes place.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not old and rusted.
So the problem when you do that, we're left with something that feels like historical recreation as opposed to an immersive film.
Right.
An immersive film experience is when you watch like Deadwood, right? When you watch Deadwood, you can almost smell the crap in the streets.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's you feel like taking a shower after watching Deadwood, right?
Yeah.
And that's the world these men would have lived in. The mine was another problem.
Was another thing.
I mean, he comes out of this mine that has all this moss growing over it. I'm fairly certain I've actually been to this location. But I mean, that's obviously not a hole that was cut into the mountain recently.
Right.
That's been there a long time.
Stuff like a mine that would be very active and in like current use. Would not be growing moss.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're setting a crazy high bar by saying all these things, but these are the things audiences see. And that's why we're saying it.
Right. These are the things that you've set up in the writing.
Yeah. And by making a film of this scale, you're presenting a certain level of I guess projecting a huge budget where you have complete control. But if you're using what you have and being clever and or lucky or using a smaller budget to achieve and like stretching it really far, then you lose a lot of the control that you might have from a movie that typically looks like this, which is why you can't like I get that you probably can't go to the historical recreation site assuming that's where it is and like literally just like break a window or like dirty
or
up
dirty
and
up the window,
scrape stuff up, But that's the paradox of doing this on a relatively small budget compared to what other movies like this are.
It's that control that you said.
But that I mean, we're producing a short film right now, still in pre-production, where we've very intentionally set the bar where we know we can deliver the highest possible quality outcome, because we have complete control over every little thing that's going to show up on the frame, right? And so I think in order for your intent to come through in a film, to fully realize your intent, you have to have that control.
And I knowing that thing about control and budget and all that, this feels like a senior project of sorts, because the whole point of senior projects, at least for me, when I was in school, was to get production done. It was to buy the things that you need to necessitate certain things, and they pulled off this production brilliantly. Like everything in here is
and
really
to demonstrate your
great.
Proficiency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can do this. I can do that.
Exactly. So in that regard, a complete success.
100%.
Maybe even more than success. And that's great. And what we're talking about here, I think, is more artist intent, director driven style and interest in film and art, not necessarily production.
Yeah.
So take what we say, I guess, with a grain of salt.
So, could we dive into the sound for a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to say that the shot was like really cool.
Okay, then let's talk about cinematography.
No, we can talk about sound. I just want to say, I just love this shot.
This was a great shot.
Like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's good.
I love when a movie surprises you with a beautiful centered shot.
Yeah.
Especially when they haven't been doing it multiple times throughout the movie.
Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pointing at Brandon right now.
Hey, Brandon.
Brandon
Yeah,
Garcia,
Brandon.
you shot this, and I know you, and you're awesome. So yes, this is great.
All right. Yeah. Explain the craft theory behind this shot.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah,
why
I think
it's so beautiful.
I think this shot is mainly beautiful because not only is it center weighted, but we have a foreground element here, balanced with a midground element here. So if those two were away, it might have a little of a skew because of this wood. That would throw the whole center off balance, but we have that and that, which balances out the whole shot, which is really nice.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, let's talk about sound real quick.
Okay, so when we watched this, we were listening with headphones, which does give a level of super focus on the audio that
You're right.
is pretty high. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that come through speakers that you wouldn't notice. But at least with our headphones on, it was distracting. Many of the things that were going on here.
Right.
There were some parts that just felt like they weren't mixed at all.
Yeah.
Where we had, I mean, it literally sounded like the person they were having dialogue with was throwing their voice to a. They were like miles away.
Right.
That shot right there, that cut, all
That's
three
a
of those
weird
cuts
cut.
right there
Yeah.
were all felt weird, and they all had audio hiccups on each
When
cut.
he'd cut.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The same thing happened when they were having the dialogue in a tent. They also had a weird thing where whenever they spoke, the ambient noise of the scene dropped out.
Yeah.
So we had like crickets, wind, and like rushing water as ambient tone. And whenever they spoke, it disappeared, and then it came back in when they stopped. And that doesn't happen in nature, so it felt artificial and therefore threw you out of the scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Let's talk about the directing real quick and the performances.
Directors!
So there was a comment that Amy left for us while we were live streaming, and that was, she said, the actors sound like they're saying all the lines for the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't really disagree. Some of the performances were a little weak, and I felt like that was a directing decision. That the director probably thought that's good enough. Let's keep going, and it's probably a schedule thing.
Oh, yeah.
If you're trying to keep on schedule,
Some of these locations, or how long do you have the horse?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I would focus more on that kind of stuff. The performances didn't stand up quite well.
They didn't ring genuine. Yeah. There were many blocking issues, I felt, as well.
There was blocking. This was kind of weird with the cinematography at some parts. We already talked about a little part in the church, but there's also this part in the tent that felt really weird to me. When he comes up, his eye line is distant. It's like up and distant.
Yeah.
And
Like
then we come to a close-up.
the guy was standing up on the other side of the tent from
Right.
his eyes.
Yeah, and so we cut to a close-up.
He's sitting.
We now don't know where that other guy is,
Yeah, it's disorienting.
So he's talking, and then we're like, okay, so he looks up to the right.
Oh, I just got confused right then.
They're standing in a circle.
Yeah. So yeah,
I thought he was like.
You thought he was
point.
over on the left, right?
Yeah,
right.
on the left.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
That's so
it's because it's the
confusing.
wrong line,
Yeah.
I think. So then,
Oops.
I've made that oops many times.
So this
It
is the
took
shot,
this shot to show you where they actually
right?
are.
This is the shot that we needed when he entered,
Yep.
right? So that's just a little spatial thing that was a little weird,
Now it feels better actually.
right? See, now that we know where they are,
Yeah.
yeah, and you can hop the line several times if you want. Like
It's
this,
actually still kind of weird.
this, yeah. So this only feels weird now, but it feels weird, even though we know where he is. And what's cool about this kind of shot is that, it feels right weighted, so the whole thing feels stilted. But we can use that as long as we know what the space is like. So leading off the shot like this, I don't think was a very good idea, but you can play with things like that.
Because then you can make him feel like you can make this W character feel like he's off kilter,
Like he's off, right?
which is maybe what they were kind of going for. But
They maybe were, yeah. I think it was just edited a little weird.
yeah,
Anything else?
Panning for gold. I don't know if these guys have ever seen what panning for gold looks like.
It's not this.
But no one's pulling nuggets like that out of the river.
yeah, that dude's whole life has changed. Well, maybe that's why he gets killed for it, because that's like
Well, I mean, when you pan for gold, you're looking for small pieces, sometimes flakes.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing is scooping up silt, small
Right,
things.
the big things come out first.
Everything else
Yeah.
starts to come off, and gold is heavier than anything else in the water, so it stays when everything else sort of sifts out. And both times we see people panning for gold, they have a pan of rocks that they're just sort of going clink, clink, clink. I'm like, that's not panning for gold.
not quite right.
So again, I'm nitpicking.
Yeah.
I'm picking nits.
We are.
You.
The shot, they cut to back up. The first time it shows the two of them in one shot facing each other, what to me was like broadcasting one of them's going to shoot the other. There.
This part?
Yes, and that was before they went to their duel. Their duel was a little later, but it was like, okay, that's what's happening here.
I actually didn't get that from that wide shot.
I didn't
that a
either.
shootout was going to happen. When he went for his gun, I actually was like, oh wow, they're going to shoot. Like that was actually.
No, I mean, I felt like it was broadcasted big time.
He's cross-drawing.
I really like this shootout. I don't like how it was empathized because I don't feel connected to either of these characters at this point.
No.
And we talked about why.
And
already.
actually, I actually felt like you started to build some sympathy for him
for this guy, yeah.
in this scene. You're like, oh, he's nuts,
Right.
Earlier,
Yeah.
he's like a mad dog, and at this point, he's just seems sad.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they were going for.
Again, they just need to hit that theme harder.
yeah.
They need to hit that theme
And
way harder.
choose one,
yeah.
Right.
right?
And go
Right.
for like the hunt down your brother thing, or
Yeah.
show an arc of this guy going crazy.
So I have a question for the filmmaker, Mr. Ryan. I can't pronounce your last name.
It's time for questions.
My first question is, the intent of this film. Sometimes I know people have other people write their films. Sometimes they pick them out of like a selection or something. Was this something that you wrote, or was this? Or I guess I could see if you wrote it, couldn't I?
Yeah, read the credits, dude.
Jeez.
What's wrong with you?
Written and
There it is.
directed.
Written
Okay.
and directed by Ryan
So-
Hepkema.
Hey, this is a font that we use a lot.
I like
Yeah.
that font.
Their spacing's weird.
Don't get distracted.
So Ryan, I was wondering why you wrote this film. Is there a certain thing that you like with westerns? Were you trying to hit home on a theme that's close to you? What was the reason why you did that? And also, how are you connected with all the people that I know? I
you
know
know?
so many people in here. Maybe you just went to the same school? Maybe we went to the same school.
It's not what you know, D. It's who you know.
I know lots of these people. Yeah, so you guys, questions?
Well, I would like to know what kind of emotion were you trying to get from your audience? And top of that, what was your experience like obtaining these locations, especially that really cool village and church that you were shooting in?
Yeah. How'd you get
where
permission
was
for
that, and what was your process for getting permission to shoot there?
Yeah.
How was it working with horses? I bet that's hard.
It's hard.
Nay.
Yeah. Nay.
I shot
Hey.
on a western one time, and we had 5 horses on
man.
set, and they ran away.
Oh my gosh.
We had horse handlers, and they got him back, but it took some time out of the day.
Wow.
They just literally ran away. It was crazy.
Animals are hard, and horses are scared of the weirdest things.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
one time you
When-
and I were shooting on the trail?
Yeah.
And a horse saw our tripod and just freaked
Just
out.
flipped out.
Like, it
That's the
went
second
nuts.
second time that I've seen a horse freak out over a tripod.
Yeah.
They're like alien
It
to
was
them.
actually
Yeah.
hilarious. So it's just a tripod. The horse is like,
Yeah.
what is that?
I ain't messing around with that. Whatever that is, I don't want anything to do with
I don't
it.
want that.
That thing got 3 legs. God didn't put nothing on this earth that had 3 legs.
Thank you so much for submitting this film. I was thoroughly impressed with the production.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
boy, I love a movie that is a joy to talk about, and that's
Yeah.
what this was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every so often we cover a film and we just have nothing to say, so
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so
What's up next?
we have Eternal Recurrence by Thomas Driggs.
Awesome.
Yes.
So now is the time
You know what to do.
to go and watch the film.
Link in the description.
Yes, sir.
Watch it.
Come right back, though.
Come back.
We're going to wait for you.
We're gonna wait for you. We'll be here.
Why are we
Let's keep drawing it out.
It's dramatic and scary. It's spooky.
They're gonna click on the link, and then we're gonna stay here. They're still watching it.
Hey! Whoa! Caught me off guard there.
Yay!
Welcome back. Welcome
All
back.
right.
So, Mr. Taylor,
Hey, what's up, man?
when I saw this film, the first thing that I thought was Taylor would like this. Tell me a little bit about Eternal Recurrence.
Yeah, this is. I thought this movie was pretty interesting. It's definitely wasn't what I was expecting it to be.
Interesting. Well, what were you expecting?
I guess because we heard the title and we started joking about the Groundhog's Day thing.
Are you nervous that Eternal Recurrence might be yet another Groundhog Day motif short film?
Which we talk about a few times on the show, where you live the same day over and over again. So it's
Time-
like eternal,
time loop
yeah, time loop
movies.
stuff.
Right.
Eternal recurrence.
Right.
So I'm thinking it might be something like that, and then it kind of started, and it wasn't really like that at all. And really, I mean, I don't really know what this movie is, but it's just like they're kind of walking and some weird stuff happens. There's this crazy sign, this stuff with all the signs.
This was rad.
It's just interesting.
I
Like,
would love to believe that the filmmaker put this here, but I'm feeling like that's not the case.
Yeah, they are maybe just
This is
utilizing an art thing.
An art installation.
That they just shot around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It's really neat to utilize.
I love the atmosphere of it. I love how shaky the camera is, and I love the autofocus going in and out all the time. That looks so crazy. It just looks really gritty.
The high frame rate adds to
Yeah.
that, I feel like.
I think it is, yeah.
I just love the look and the feel of this movie.
It's super sharp focus.
Yeah.
When it does autofocus there. I feel like this was shot on one of those newer, really fast autofocus cameras. I think Sony just came out with one that does that. But vloggers love them because they're super sharp, super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like stabilization was disabled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what
It's
they did.
so
That's
jittery.
really interesting that you say that, because that means that was intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all the newer cameras now do have in-body stabilization. Yeah, so
And
I mean,
it definitely had like a surreal vibe to it, you know.
It's
And
definitely
very
surreal.
Interesting.
I-
Just interesting to me.
I would say that this is
Behavior.
probably our first experimental film. that
Truly
we've had.
experimental.
Truly experimental.
Yeah.
And
in the sense that they had an experiment. Is that what you mean?
that's exactly
like a
what I mean.
Particular experiment.
Like I don't think they went out and said,
I'm
and
gonna
said
express
all of this is
this
going to
emotion.
happen. Right.
And and you differentiate that from an expressionist film.
Right.
How?
Well, expressionist film is like I would say expression has intent behind it, artist emotion behind it, and they're just putting emotion through something, but it is intended, rather than experiment, whereas like I have a lot of objects. Let's see what happens if I put them together. You know.
Does feel
Interesting.
that way. This movie definitely has a vibe. Like, I definitely got like a rebellious
Yeah.
punk feel
Yeah.
here. The black and white, the very contrasty black and white, and the sharpness of the image paired with this music, actually, like, it all went together really well to create a feel.
Yeah.
This movie was tone strong while being story thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It's my favorite.
Yeah.
That is your favorite, man.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've no idea why or what,
Yeah.
honestly.
I honestly think it was more of the music. I think this film does have things that go together very well, and the music is part of it. But a film without that music, I don't think would have given the same vibe to it. I'm not entirely sure. I could be completely wrong. It's just something that I'm reading from it. This really reminded me of the music video for Stress
I was thinking the same thing.
by Justice. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the whole shakiness of it, for some reason, the punkness of it
Yeah.
really does feel that way. When this shot happened, I was like, oh, he's gonna pull out the book,
Yeah.
and then the other guy's gonna.
And it was gonna
put it
loop
out.
around.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't.
It
Yeah.
didn't. I'm not sure why though.
Yeah.
Again,
That's the thing. I don't know what's going on.
There's
Yeah.
no whys here that I can give for any of this movie. Why were there bleeding people on the stairs?
It looked
why-
like themselves.
Why
on the
was he so
stairs.
anxious to get into the library or whatever this building is?
Yeah.
Right,
right.
Why did they get separated? Why was he waiting on the other side? Why were the couple sitting there at the signs?
I don't
don't
know.
But I don't really.
But it was directed
Yeah.
by someone.
I don't-
Thomas directed this movie, so and
And
it was
written.
written. So if it was written and directed,
And it's different.
Then-
A different person shooting it too.
then there has to be some kind of intent here, right?
There's got to be, yeah.
So what was that intent is obviously question number one. What were you trying to do?
I would love to hear.
I mean,
Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
you definitely made a strong aesthetic, and it
Yeah.
was cool.
There was a very big impression that I got from here. You know what was interesting? So what was this first shot about? Because it felt bullied at first, and then it just went like, oh, they're buddies.
Yeah,
when
but
they
didn't he
come
like
in?
stick his cigarette in the book or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
you're like,
Dude, I
hey,
love that.
dick move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just does that, and you're like,
And he's like, "Oh yeah, hi, we're cool.
hey, we're cool.
Let's walk." We go on a walk, and we pass some weird stuff. There's a couple just like on the peak of having sex. Then they go and find a couple who are bleeding to death.
The people who were bleeding to death looked like them.
Did they?
Yeah.
I thought they were dressed up in clown makeup.
I saw blood.
I did see
I mean,
blood.
It's black and white, so
Okay.
yeah, it's all prop blood.
Okay, so
It's
this
not-
guy looked like a clown to me because he had like this
The blood. Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, it almost looks like a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't say what that's about.
I wouldn't say it looks like them.
Is he wearing a shirt that says Lakers or Lover?
I don't know.
There's no S at the end.
Again, intent matters, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I
So-
feel like this was more experimental.
Yeah, yeah.
It's definitely interesting. It's definitely something's
yeah.
happening, and we're taking interest in it.
Yeah, I liked this movie.
It's very dreamy.
Yeah.
It has a dream feel to it. It actually reminds me of Linklater's Waking Life. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like this weird rotoscope animation movie.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just weird scenes like this.
Yeah.
And then all of it's animated over in this crazy way. Like they shot it practically and then drew on top of it. But it has just a sort of a dreamlike quality. I could see this being part of a anthology of just tone films.
Tone film is what I would call that, yeah. Is he staring straight at the camera? No, he's not.
Can you go back to the signs?
Kind of.
Like I love the reveal here because for some reason this gave me like it overwhelmed me seeing all these signs.
Oh,
That,
I mean,
well,
yeah.
No, it was
It's
to me,
visually
that's-
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
the most memorable part of this movie, and it feels when they're stopping, you're like, oh, they're looking at the signs,
Right.
but they're not. They're looking at this couple. This felt like a good old what's his name? Shoot, his name is the guy who just made a new Don Quixote movie, Terry Gilliam. That felt like a scene from a Terry Gilliam film to me when they walked in front of all those signs. That's a set piece Terry Gilliam would have designed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, that would have been really interesting to me if that was like the filmmaker who put all those signs there.
Yeah.
Like that says to me that you're trying to do something with that.
Or if that
that's
was the
what-
beginning of a journey into absurdity, like it just kept going.
Right.
But that was the peak of absurdity, and it just went
and it just went
somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
The super high. So I think the choppiness is from a really high shutter speed or fast shutter speed.
Yeah.
And that choppiness made the signs look like they were digitally placed there, and so that's what was my first impression was like, oh, they digitally put all these in.
Sorry, do you mean high frame rate or high shutter speed?
Shutter speed, fast shutter speed.
That doesn't look like a fast shutter speed to me.
No, the choppy. It's like super choppy.
I mean, I guess yeah, that's true. I guess it is. You know, also
Bite. Big fish, little fish.
the sunlight here is just crazy.
But it made
Is that
it
two
look,
girls or that one dude and a girl?
It made it all look
I don't see
digitally
gender.
placed in there.
It made it feel placed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I believe that is an art installation.
Yeah. I do like how they used it though. How they just passed it.
Yeah.
Like it's just a thing.
Well, I like that they noticed the couple making out and not the signs.
Right.
You know, that was kind of cool.
That was cool.
So, again, a lot of really cool things here.
Also, why does he have such a huge bag? I was wondering that the whole time.
That there'd be some reveal here. He's got something in that bag. What's
Yeah.
in the bag, man? What's in the bag?
I don't know. I just don't
What's in
typically
this building?
see people walk around
Why are you
with
trying to... Hey,
giant
stop.
bags.
Let's see if we can read what's on that door. I want to know what they're using. Is this college campus?
I don't know.
I can't read it.
You.
I see that word. Yep. Contemporary art. It's a museum of contemporary art.
That makes sense.
Is that
Utah.
Utah?
Yep.
So it's a
Utah Museum of
so that's what this
Contemporary
is. then.
Art.
This is
So
art
that's a-
installation in front of the art museum.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is Salt Lake then? That could be.
It's all one shot. Just realized that.
I thought it was weird that you just realized it was one shot?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that this part was sped up.
Is it?
Yeah, do you see how fast he's going?
Well, aren't you?
I don't know. Oh, that might have been a cut right there.
Well, I don't know about a cut.
It looks really choppy.
Well, yeah, I think it's just sped up.
I think that was a cut right there.
I don't think that was a cut.
Try
Why-
again.
why would they-
Try again, D,
Why would they have cut right there?
to make it easier to shoot.
No.
No.
But like this was definitely sped up and then it was slowed back down here.
I don't know, man.
Well, you can
Don't
see
know.
you can see the how fast the autofocus was going in and out.
Are you guys gonna fight again?
I'm about ready to fight. About 2 seconds.
Question:
I'm gonna
was
snap.
this sped up?
That part.
Was there a cut there?
That part going down the hill.
You make a good point about the autofocus, so that might be it. But it doesn't look like he's moving that much faster, because like I see him jogging and it's like, oh, he could just be jogging.
All right, guys. What are our questions?
How intentional was the autofocus? Because I absolutely love the autofocus.
Did you turn off stabilization? And what was your intent of doing this? What are you trying to convey?
Why?
Is there
Why?
Just why, man? Why? Why would you do this? Why?
I want to know what put this into your head. Why you thought, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do.
And, there should be bleeding people on these stairs.
So what your inspiration was?
Yeah.
That's really what I want to know. I don't. The film speaks for itself, I think, but yeah, I do want to know what your inspiration was.
All right.
Very cool.
So let's go to our third film.
Thank you for submitting. That was
Yeah,
rad.
really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right, third film.
So
Here we
third
go.
film is
Settling by
not working.
Not working.
Crap.
What does
is
that
not-
mean?
Well,
What does that mean?
Oh, why don't
Let's-
you click on it?
let's see what happens
Yeah,
here.
let's go see the link.
Oh, man.
So
What is that?
It means someone submitted a film to us with a dead link.
not only was it dead, but the video has been deleted, removed, or copyrighted.
You don't mess up my show, man. Short film roundup.
Short
my
room
show.
found up.
Short room found up is my favorite show. You're messing with my show. We're supposed to cover 3 films. We saved a spot for you and everything. It's not like we could bump up someone from next week, because that'll just mess up everything.
Let's talk about Fever again.
I don't know what to think, D.
What do we do?
What do we do now? I'm spiraling.
What do
I'm
we do?
spiraling. I'm
How are we going to fill
spiraling.
the time?
Well, there's always
I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Oh.
Kenny's got gold fever.
Rock. Hey, so we blew that one too because we should have checked our links long ago.
yes.
We avoid clicking on them because we want to have a perfectly fresh experience when we watch our shorts live.
Yep.
But
So-
we should make sure that they're actual.
So we never,
make sure they
so we
should
never
make sure they
clicked on
work,
it
yeah.
until it was too late, and so we only have 2 films to cover this week.
Ooh.
So, but on you
rough,
guys,
dude.
on your shoulders, dear filmmakers, please make sure you send us good links.
Well, it could have been good at the time and then got
And it just got removed.
Yeah.
Did you get cold feet? Maybe he got cold feet. He
There-
submitted it, it was accepted, and he's like, "What do we do?"
You know, there actually was one person that withdrew their film.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
What?
They,
Are you kidding me?
They submitted it, and then they said, nah, you
Can't
know what?
take the heat. Hey, we're not gentle. We're not gentle here. You heard the disclaimer. We can be brutally honest and say, hey, I don't apologize. Announcement. I should have said this at the beginning. So
Yes.
we'll repeat it every episode from here on for a little while, which is at the end of October, the Thursday before Halloween, we want to do a horror-only episode.
Yeah, horror special.
Yes.
Horror
yes.
special.
For
Horror special.
in honor of the Day of the Dead, we will be covering at least 3 horror films on Short Film Roundup that week. So this is our first time calling out. If you got a cool horror short or know of one, send them our way, and we may include it in our Halloween special.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, spooky.
Oh, is that David S. Pumpkins?
Pumpkins.
My favorite Halloween character.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, much appreciated. We all love you. Except
No,
D.
except D.
D doesn't love anyone because he has no sense of empathy.
Is that true?
See?
Please no.
And this is when we spiral into nonsense until you stop watching.
Oh, that's happened long ago.
Please go into our subreddit. Submit your film if you have a film. Submit to say that there's other people that have films. Get them to submit us films. Go to our Facebook group, Short Film
Film
Cooperative.
Yep.
You can
Sign up.
either search for it or go to our subreddit, comment, leave us a message, do something,
Link in
tell
the
us that you
description.
want to be with us. Short Film Cooperative is all about us trying to learn more about film form, talk about things that are relevant with short film, increase our storytelling.
Prowess.
Yes,
Yes.
that.
And as you've seen, the filmmakers, the people behind these films, leave feedback, comment, and watch our thread under this video. So post your comments as well, especially if you have comments towards the filmmaker. They'll be here.
What are you doing?
I'm just making a square.
Okay. And we shall.
We've already got a few people in Short Film Cooperative at the moment.
Yep.
So that's really nice.
Yep. We have a community of 26
About 26
people.
We just started the group.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
Join us. Come. And this has been Short Film Roundup. Thank you for
God,
watching.
no. Please shield yourself.
And I'm
Wait,
Kenny
what
Valentine.
surprised you?
We'll see you next time.
What surprised you?